Hi guys, I'm back and today's video is going to be a continuation of my Ordinary shopping guide. So if you haven't seen my first video, go check that out. There I talk about the vitamins and retinoids on theordinary.com. Today's video I will be focusing on the direct acids. As a reminder, this series of videos is a buying guide. So in here I will be sharing my rationale for why I plan to purchase or maybe have already purchased a product or maybe decide to skip a product based on the ingredients and the research on those ingredients. For me, my concern is mostly anti-aging, and in my case, I'm more worried about preservation rather than reversing the signs of aging. So there are a couple of things I would like to reverse, such as hyperpigmentation, but as far as like wrinkles or deep lines, I don't really have that, so my main concern is just preserving my face in the way it is now. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's get into the video, which again today is going to be on the direct acids. So here we are back on the Ordinary's website, and on the left hand side you can see that these are all of the products, the product lines that they offer. So if you just click into direct acids, we can jump right into today's video. So most of these products in the direct acid section are chemical exfoliants. So in contrast to physical exfoliants, which work physically to cause friction, such as with a salt scrub or sugar scrub or even a towel, these products work at a cellular level to kind of slough off your skin. And this is skin that's ready to come off anyway, and so this kind of additional help to get it off is not necessarily bad for it. That being said, there has been some debate between dermatologists even about whether or not it's good to exfoliate daily, or maybe that's something that you should leave for a more irregular kind of treatment. I mean, some dermatologists recommend using a Clarisonic every day, and others could not be more terrified at that idea. So honestly, I think the verdict is still out there, but for my personal preference, I'm kind of a less is more type of girl, so I try to limit any kind of exfoliation that I do to once or twice a week. That's kind of all the preamble to all of these chemical exfoliants, so let's just jump into these direct acid products, shall we? Alright, first up on the website we have two lactic acid products, one in a 5% concentration and one in a 10% concentration. Now, lactic acid is a very gentle form of alpha hydroxy acid, or AHA. So in contrast to BHAs, AHAs are water soluble, whereas BHAs are oil soluble. Now, because AHAs are water soluble, that means they don't really mix as oil and they actually are repelled by oil, so you know, classic water and oil, vinegar and oil kind of scenario. As a result, AHAs are kind of limited to the upper layers of your skin, whereas BHAs are able to get absorbed more deeply because they're attracted to the oil in the subsurface of your skin. So as a general rule, AHAs are considered to be a lot more mild than BHAs. And lactic acid, as I mentioned, is a very gentle form of AHA. So these two products are kind of designed to be a gentle exfoliant, and they're really nicely formulated because they do list that the pH level is somewhere between a 3 and a 4, and in order for any type of AHA to work, that kind of pH level is critical in order for it to access your skin. So now, do I recommend purchasing either of these? Now, a lot of people say that this is a dupe for Sunday Riley's Good Genes lactic acid serum, which is also designed to be kind of a gentle exfoliator. And I mean, true, they are dupes insofar as the core, you know, active compound in here is a lactic acid, and at the 5% concentration, that's about the same as what the Sunday Riley product has. So the 10% concentration one is actually a little bit stronger. Now, although the main worker bee is this lactic acid, you know, there are a lot more goodies in the Sunday Riley product, and also it's packaged way more beautifully. So all of those other goodies in the Sunday Riley product is designed to kind of help, you know, ameliorate any of the damage caused by the lactic acid, make it more gentle, make it more soothing, and, you know, make it a better experience. Now, in the Ordinary's product, there is a lot less stuff. There is the lactic acid, water, and then some humectants. And then they have this Tasmanian pepperberry extract that is also designed to help soothe your skin. Soothe. Soothe is a hard... Soothe. It's a hard word to say. Okay, anyway. So what do I think of it? Well, I think, you know, if you want to go save yourself a ton of money because the Good Genes is hella expensive, this is actually a good product to buy. Either of these, depending on your familiarity or your sensitivity of your skin, you may want to go with the lower concentration and work your way up to the 10%. So I think they're not bad products. That being said, I will say that I actually did buy the 5% product, and my skin personally does not like it. It was super itchy as soon as I put it on my skin, and I just could not even stand the feeling of it. So I immediately washed it off, and I've now been using it as a exfoliant on like my knees, where I tend to get ingrown hairs because I cross my legs. So if you have areas of your body that you're trying to just kind of gently exfoliate, like maybe your knees, you know, this could be a good product if you find it too harsh for your face. So anyway, as a gentle exfoliator, lactic acid is not a bad idea if you want to try it out. I didn't particularly like it, so for me it's a pass, but if you want to try it, I say go for it. Okay, moving on down the list of products, we actually divert from chemical exfoliants into azelaic acid, which is a direct acid, but it's not really an exfoliant. So, you know, as I said, most of these products are exfoliants, but not all of them, and azelaic acid is not one of these. Now, what azelaic acid is good for in the research is hyperpigmentation. The research I read specifically says that in concentrations of 20% or greater, the results showed some pretty good reduction in hyperpigmentation. Now, this formulation from The Ordinary is a 10% formulation, and the rest of the ingredients are basically a bunch of silicones. So, personally, I think this is perhaps not the optimal formulation. I would prefer something in a higher concentration per the research, and I would personally skip on this. But full disclosure, I actually did buy this because I was just very curious about azelaic acid. I wanted to see how it'd work on my hyperpigmentation and, you know, if I even like the formulation. And my verdict, kind of a mini review here. Sorry, I told you this wasn't going to be a review, but this is kind of my thoughts here. I didn't particularly like this product. Again, I don't love, you know, putting a lot of silicones on my face, especially in the evening. In the daytime, I don't really mind, but for evening, I don't really like it. And so I also haven't really seen any great results from this, and I've been using it now for a couple of months, not like a long time. So I don't know, I think I would personally skip it, and I think there are probably better things out there to treat hyperpigmentation over the counter, such as niacinamide, or, you know, if you are able to get a prescription hydroquinone from your doctor or pharmacy, that could be, I mean, that is designed to be a better recommended treatment for hyperpigmentation. So my thoughts, I would skip this. I don't plan to rebuy it, and that's why. Moving on down, we now reach alpha lipoic acid, and again, this one is not a chemical exfoliant. Instead, it is like a vitamin C in that it's really an antioxidant. So antioxidants are, again, shields for our skin. Their molecules kind of bind to the harmful pollutants that is in the air, so rather than kind of aging our skin, it's able to just protect and attack these, you know, antioxidants first. So I read an interesting study with alpha lipoic acid and rats where they tested kind of 3 groups of rats. One was the control group, nothing happened to them, and then the 2 other groups, one of which was treated with alpha lipoic acid and one of which without. They were both exposed to kind of like intense cigarette smoke. And, you know, sorry, poor rats. I know, animal testing, horrible, but sometimes this is, I mean, it's science. I'm sorry, if they say there's no animal testing, believe that in history there has been animal testing to get all of the products that you're buying today. It's just the way it is. So anyway, with the study, the rats that were exposed to the cigarette smoke but had alpha lipoic acid really had tremendously better results than the rats who just had the smoke and no kind of protection. So as an antioxidant, it would suggest that this does work. I didn't see this replicated for humans in any studies. I mean, I don't think you could do that. I think that would be inhumane to subject people to smoke in a study. But, you know, take that as you will. So it does seem to be a good antioxidant. As far as whether or not you should buy it, I would say skip it if you use a different antioxidant already in your kind of daytime routine. So I use a vitamin C serum, and I find that's enough. Maybe if you are living in a very polluted city or, you know, are exposed to secondhand smoke regularly, this is something you could supplement into your routine to get additional antioxidant benefits. the directions for this do say that this is a very strong product and you should only apply it a couple of times a week max. So, you know, maybe as a supplement for protecting your skin if you are in a heavily polluted place, this could be something to buy. But I personally just don't think I need it, and, you know, vitamin C seems to be good enough for me. Okay, we are now back into the realm of chemical exfoliants, and next up is the Glycolic Acid 7% toning solution. So I remember back in like the early aughts, AHAs and particularly glycolic acids were kind of all the rage from dermatologists as kind of gentle exfoliators that people should use regularly. That kind of messaging, I think, has died down a bit, but it seems to be reviving now with all of these different exfoliants that you do see on the market. Now, looking at the ingredients, glycolic acid is the second ingredient after water, followed by several extracts like aloe that are designed to make the solution a little less irritating for your skin. Comparing this to other popular glycolic toners like the Pixi Glow Tonic or the Paula's Choice Glycolic Toner, the ingredients list is actually pretty similar. Both those other ones that cost a lot more also have water, glycolic, followed by some extracts to help soothe the skin. The difference seems to be there are a few more hydrating products in the more expensive products from Paula's Choice or Pixi. So they, for example, have hyaluronic acid in their toning solutions. That being said, if you are anything like me and you are already layering other products in there that are providing that hydration in your routine, I don't think there's a need to go buy the more expensive toning solutions, and I actually think this one from The Ordinary is pretty stand out in all of its products. This one is something that I would wholeheartedly recommend buying because the price is right and the contents are exemplary. And I definitely want to buy this if it ever comes back in stock. So this is one of those things that I have kind of my little email me when this item comes back in stock reminder for, at which point I will, you know, do a bunch of other shopping, such as picking up that vitamin C suspension that I talked about in my last video. Now, if you are going the lactic acid route, I would say there's no need to also add in a glycolic acid. It's really, you know, again, with exfoliation, my personal belief is less is more. So really just once or twice a week maximum, and, you know, pick which one you use. You don't need to go in there with 5 different exfoliants. They all do essentially the same things to varying degrees of expedience. So it's depending on what your skin can take, your sensitivities, and, you know, just your preference on how strong your exfoliant should be. So this particular solution is a toning solution. Now, if you're interested in glycolic as a cream, a viewer actually commented in one of my previous videos that there is a cream available from Walgreens called Studio 35 Glycolic Cream or something, alpha hydroxy cream. Anyway, I'll put all the information down in the description box below, but that apparently is a very good cream, and the reviews also seem to support that. So if you're interested in a cream solution versus a liquid toner, you know, that could be an option for you as well. Okay, next up, another exfoliant. This is a more intense peel. So it has a 30% alpha hydroxy acid and 2% beta hydroxy acid formulation. And honestly, it's a chemical peel in a bottle, which, to be honest, terrifies me a little bit. I can't imagine doing one of these at home without supervision, and I don't know, you could really do some damage to your skin if you're using this without following the directions. So this formulation, because it contains both AHAs and BHAs, it's kind of able to get to the top layer and seep in down to the subsurface layers of your skin. If you are planning to become or are already a regular exfoliator, this could be something that you incorporate into your routine like very infrequently. Again, for me, exfoliation, less is more. This is my view. This, you know, some dermatologists believe this, other dermatologists seem to think more is more. So I think it's, you know, just for your personal preference and how you think your skin responds. So for me, something like this would be very infrequent, and it's something that I'm curious about. I'm not like running to the store to get this, but it is something that I probably will try in a future Ordinary purchase. Okay, last one on the list is Salicylic acid 2%. Now this one again is a chemical exfoliant. This is a BHA. So like I said before, it's able to go a little bit deeper into your skin. But with this particular product, because it's in such a small bottle, it seems to be really designed for spot treating acne. Now, for acne, some people really respond well to salicylic acid and some people really don't. Now with me, again, even though my main concern is anti-aging, I do occasionally get the hormonal pimple. So when that happens, I actually prefer a benzoyl peroxide 5% cream rather than salicylic acid, because I just don't see the results with salicylic acid, whereas my skin seems to respond quite well to benzoyl peroxide. So I would personally skip this one from The Ordinary. Okay, that wraps up the direct acid section of The Ordinary's website. So again, most of these products were chemical exfoliants, and then you had a couple of acids in there that were for random stuff. So in summary, here is kind of the rundown of what I would buy and what I wouldn't buy based on the products and their formulations. First up, for the lactic acids in the 5 and 10% with hyaluronic acid 2% solutions, these first two products, I think lactic acid for a person who is just starting out with exfoliating could really be helpful, and these products are worth trying for sure. That being said, my own personal experience with this was not pleasant at all, so I'm going to be passing on this. But again, if you are new to chemical exfoliants, this is a nice, easy, and inexpensive way to delve into that before you decide to go deeper into exfoliation or try something like the Sunday Riley Good Genes. Next, on the Azelaic acid suspension 10%, this one I actually did purchase, but I will not be repurchasing, and per my research on this, 20% concentrations are better, and I also just don't personally love the formulation as something to use in the evening since it is just a bunch of silicones. Next is alpha lipoic acid 5%, and this has been demonstrated to be quite a powerful antioxidant. But because I already have an antioxidant in my routine, I don't feel the need to layer on additional acids, so I'm going to be passing on this. Okay, then we get into the Glycolic 7% toning solution, and I want this product. I think this is a great buy. I think the formulation is pretty stellar for the price, especially in comparison to some of the bigger names out there. So I would absolutely buy this and plan to as soon as it comes back in stock. Then we get to the chemical peel in a bottle, the AHA 30% and the BHA 2%, and this is something that I would like to try, I think, as like a very rare kind of full chemical peel for the face. So something that I would use like once or twice a month maximum. But yeah, I do think I want to try this in a future Ordinary haul. Then finally, the salicylic acid 2%. This again is really dependent on your own experience with salicylic acid. The design for this product is really as a spot treater for acne, so if you do respond well to this particular acid, it's a good one to get. Okay, that wraps it up. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and in my next one I will be finishing up on The Ordinary's website and all of the other oils and other molecules, and wrapping up this series of The Ordinary buying guide. So if you liked it, do subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments. As I mentioned in my last video, if you have seen other studies or research that contradict anything that I say, or maybe further support anything that I say, I would love for you to share them in the comments down below. I think, it's great for everyone to just get more informed. Okay, that's all from me, so I will see you guys very soon. Bye!